one time I was in a gunfight in Iraq, and I was in a ditch. There was a group of Navy SEALs up in a compound providing security. My buddy Kevin Owens, who works for me now, he's an accomplished sniper in Green Beret. He was on twin 240 machine guns, like in a vehicle. I was in this ditch, and we were looking for improvised explosive devices, like caches, whatever's going to be in a ditch, bad guys. And I have night vision and an infrared laser. And I'm shining it in this ditch. And the Iraqi, who's the tier 1 Iraqi counterterrorism force guy, super squared away guys, he shines his white light in the ditch. And when he does that, a PKM machine gun opens up on my position. So 7.62 by 54 rimmed, ga, 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 and it's firing at us, and tracers go over our heads. I fall on my ass, lift my gun, and start shooting at the point of origin, the poo site. So I'm shooting at the position, and I look down, and he's in the fetal position. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck up. And I hit him. And I know this dude. I've trained with this dude. And he's in the fetal, and he's frozen in place. I'm like, get the fuck up, get up. And he won't move. So I grab him and drag him 20 yards while the SEALs in the compound wall are reacting to contact, and I drag him across this field and get him into the compound wall, and I'm like shaking him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he wakes up. And one of the problems in the mechanism of being hypo-aroused is opiates are pushed into your system to disassociate the trauma. Some even speculate to disassociate the transition from life to death to make it easier, which is fascinating. And I'm like, dude, get your shit together. Like, get up. He gets up. We talk about it post-op back at the base. He doesn't even realize what happened. He's like, dude, he's like, what happened? I'm like, dude, you completely were like, we're in a fetal, like almost crying. I thought you were paralyzed. He goes, I don't remember, Mike. I don't know what happened. I'm like, oh shit.
So his mind just shut down.
His shit shut down. And
wow.
here's where what I figured out. There are triggers in trauma as part of this resilience concept that we don't really think about. This happened to me in Afghanistan in a different rotation. I'm trained as a Green Beret, like going through the woods, doing patrols, my M4, doing that thing, small unit tactics, basic shit that I know. I know Field Manual 7-8 like the back of my hand. It's what I understand. Nobody trained me how to act or how to be conditioned with a 107 millimeter rocket impacting near my position. A 107 millimeter rocket's like this big. It has stabilizers front and aft, and it can be shot off a rock. Like the Taliban would set these things on rocks, lob them. It's a Russian, Chinese munition. It stabilizes and impacts the earth. It sounds like a fucking freight train. It's like, boosh. And when it hits the ground, everything 25 meters in front of it dies. It has a 25 meter kill radius. So everybody is trained for the small unit tactics, react to contact in the woods in North Carolina. That's where we get trained. But standing in the middle of an open field in Afghanistan on a helicopter landing zone, taking 107 millimeter rockets that are decimating everything in your path, scared the shit out of me. The first time that happened, I remember I ran behind a HESCO and I like froze. Now I worked through this circumstance. It's called illusion of centrality. Illusion of centrality has to do with working through what you can control. So if you get overwhelmed by stress, it's going to crush you because you're going to freeze and you potentially would die in place. If you have the illusion of centrality, you have focus on the things that are in front of you because they're within your control. So I was like, fuck, I don't want to die. Get out of your head and fucking move. Do this one thing. So I ran out, I grabbed a concertina wire piece and like moved it, not even realizing my hand was cut. Guys were on the riverside, so they came up through the concertina wire. We got the vehicles in line and started shooting. At that point, there were some of our guys that were hiding under vehicles. Americans, trained for combat, a combat experience, that were frozen in place. Why? Because they had some fucking activated trigger in their trauma that hit that band, that call it a buffer zone, between being resilient and quitting. And it breached that, and they fucking quit. So you could be a trained operator. You could be the most high-speed human being technically in the world, and one thing can set you off and you could collapse and die in place because you don't have the tools. The reason I'm saying that is because people, if they understand that, will train more. They'll expose themselves to their vulnerabilities and weakness more, including jujitsu, going camping, going hunting, being more resilient by exposing yourself. And they'll do everything they can to create distance between that band of resilience and the band of where they fall the fuck apart.